Hey everybody, welcome to the Carnivore Revolution. I'm Serena.
And I'm Jess. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe below.
So today we are talking about some comments that we very often get on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram pages.
Yes, these are commonly asked questions and just funny comments that we often receive when we post things about the diet that we eat.
So I wanted to start with the one that I can't understand. This one, I just don't get it. When people say, ooh, she let her dog lick her plate. And I just think those comments must be coming from people that are not dog owners, obviously. But like, who doesn't let their dog lick their plate?
Yeah, I don't understand that one either. I get that a lot. And I grew up with dogs and we always let our dogs lick the plate. It's not like we're using the plates afterward without washing them. So they are going in the dishwasher. So I don't really understand that one either. Then the next most common question that I've been receiving since starting the Lion diet is bone broth okay on the Lion diet? Because I've given up coffee and a lot of people suggest I should do bone broth instead. And technically, no, bone broth is not a part of the Lion diet because of the histamines that are in it. And a lot of people have bad reactions to histamines. So I decided to not include it just to be true to what the Lion diet is.
Yes, and that's the point of the Lion diet is we always say carnivore is the ultimate elimination diet. The Lion diet is even more of an elimination diet. And so the goal is to remove everything else and then add things back in to see how they make you feel. Now, I did have bone broth a couple of times because I woke up one day just not feeling well. I thought I was getting sick. I had made some bone broth. And so I just thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and have it for these couple of days just to see. And I didn't have a reaction that I noticed, but I also haven't had it again. I just wanted to make sure that I was boosting my immune system because I did feel like I was coming down with something. And I just ate bone broth with some meat in it for 2 days, and then I haven't had it since. But technically, it is not part of the Lion diet for the histamine reason. The next on my list is the cholesterol question. And you talked about this with Dr. Abadia the other day. High cholesterol is not necessarily caused by the foods that you eat. There actually never was and still has not been even one scientific actual study that says what you eat causes high cholesterol or that high cholesterol causes any kind of heart problems or heart disease. It was one man, his name was Ansel Keys. He spoke very loudly. He was very bossy, and it was a hypothesis and people ran with it. And that's why we're afraid to eat meat.
And if you want to watch my video with Dr. Abadia, we will link it in the eye. My next common question or comment that I get on my reels is things to the effect of, I feel bad for your toilet, just poop related questions and comments that are probably mostly from males that think they are just so funny. But so to answer that question, I also do have a reel specifically talking about poop, which I will also link in the eye. And just to burst everyone's bubble, you do not need fiber to poop. I am pooping just fine without fiber. You can poop with eating just fat and protein. So my poops are fine. I'm feeling great. You do poop less frequently though, but that's to be expected.
And that's because the meat is more bioavailable, which means our body uses up that meat for energy. So think about it like this. When you eat all of those fruits and vegetables and legumes and rice and grains and all of those things, when you go to the bathroom, we call it waste, right? It's waste because it's the stuff your body can't use. That's what's left over after your body takes everything it needs from that. So in that respect, it seems very wasteful to eat all of those fruits and vegetables and grains and things like that because it's waste. It's waste. It literally comes out because your body can't use it. So it makes perfect sense that if you eat lots of meat and fat and your body uses most of it, you don't go as often. But there's a big difference between not needing to go and not being able to or being constipated. And so those are the two things that you have to keep, separate because you do go, you're not constipated, you're not in the bathroom feeling like you have to go and you can't. So that makes a big difference.
I just want to clarify that, like Serena is saying, there's a difference between not needing to poop and being constipated. I grew up being severely constipated my whole life, where you're sitting on the toilet, you feel like you have to go and you can't get it out of your body. Constipation. What I'm experiencing now is I don't feel like I need to poop at all. So I I'm not pooping. And then when I do feel like I need to poop, I go without issue. So there is a huge difference, like she's saying, between constipation and just not needing to go.
So the next comment that I wanted to touch on is the one about animals dying. And I know this is very serious to a lot of people, and it's serious to me. I am not the kind of person that would ever hunt just for fun. I've actually never been a hunter. I had never had deer until a couple of months ago when somebody sent some home with us, or I've never had it as far as I know, unless somebody tricked me and just didn't tell me. But I am an animal lover. I love animals. Unless I was desperate, and I mean like dying of hunger, there's no way that I would go hunting and bring a deer home and dress it, whatever it is you call it, and eat it. I just wouldn't do that. That's just not who I am unless I absolutely had to. Jess, on the other hand, she's a little bit different than that. But just so you know, I care about animals. Anytime I see a deer, I picture my German Shepherd because I love her so much, and she's the same colors as a deer. And so I'm always just thinking, how could anybody kill these beautiful animals? But I know people do, and that's okay. But just so you know, I do care about all animals. I get sad when I see an animal on the side of the road that's been hit by a car. I care very, very much. But protein is something that we absolutely have to survive. There are two essential nutrients. One is protein and one is fat. A carbohydrate is not an essential nutrient. So I need the meat and I need the fat. So I say all of that to say, if I bought one cow and ate just that cow in a year, that's one life. There are countless numbers of animals that die in modern agriculture. So if we're really talking about the lives that matter, and that's what people are saying in the comments, that it's about the lives, veganism is a scam, guys. They say those things to you, but even with organic farming, thousands of animals die for every crop that is grown. And that's something that we need to teach people. I would much rather have the one cow that lived a very happy grazing life and eat that meat than take thousands of lives in agriculture. Plus the fruits and vegetables are damaging anyway. So I'm really doing myself and the animals a favor.
My next one is supplements. I get a lot of people asking me constantly if I'm taking any supplements, and no, I am not. I didn't take supplements for 3 years while I was carnivore. I haven't been taking any supplements this month while I've been doing the lion diet. I am not opposed to taking supplements. I just have never felt like I needed them. If I ever feel like I am experiencing symptoms of deficiencies, I will add supplements into my diet, but I have not yet experienced any sort of deficiencies. So I am not going to add them in.
I do not take any supplements except a little bit of vitamin D in the wintertime because I tend to be run low on vitamin D. It's just something my body does. And I know that I need the vitamin D to help keep me from getting sick. So I do take vitamin D sometimes in the wintertime. But other than that, I don't take any supplements. I have started adding liver in once a week this month, and I would like to keep that going. I don't necessarily think I need it. Last time I had my blood work done, it was fine, but I don't think it's going to hurt me either. And I hear only good things about adding liver to your diet, so I'm going for it. One of the other comments we get a lot is about how unhealthy it is and how we are destroying our bodies. And I just wanted to say, listen, if that were true, I would have not lost 35 pounds and at almost 50 have zero aches and pains, 0 days where my alarm goes off and I think, oh my goodness, I can't get out of bed today. I mean, I was waking up thinking I was 48 when I started carnivore, and I was waking up and just like laying in bed and getting up really slowly in the morning, like with little pains here and there, things that you just think are normal. And I was thinking, gosh, is this really what it feels like to be 48? This sucks. That's how I was waking up every day. And now I wake up like a 20-year-old. I hop out of bed. I'm wide awake right away. I have never felt the way I feel now when I wake up in the morning, and then all day long too. But just in general, the things that we think are wrong with us that are just like from getting old or from old injuries that we have, or things like arthritis and inflammation and things like that, those things we are not destroying our bodies by eating this way. We are destroying our bodies by eating the normal way. And that's why we have so many of those autoimmune issues and aches and pains and things like that. So we are not destroying our bodies. We both feel really good and have all kinds of energy, right?
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, if I was not destroying my body before, then maybe I want to destroy my body because I feel so great right now. So maybe that's maybe destroying my body is the answer because I feel way better than before. And the next common thing that we get a lot is people asking grass-fed versus grain-fed. Serena and I both agree that it's not a requirement to eat grass-fed beef unless that is a priority for you. But grain-fed beef is going to give you just it. I think the study is like the difference between grass-fed and grain-fed is just minuscule, that it's not worth splitting hairs over. If you can't afford grass-fed, just get the grain-fed beefs that you can at the grocery store. I personally just shop at the grocery store, and I do also get common comments telling me that I eat cheap junk grocery store meat that is not healthy, it's not good, things like that. And I just want to share with you guys that if cheap junk grocery store meat is the only thing that you can afford, I've been eating it for over 3 years now, and I've still gotten amazing health benefits from it. So don't let anyone try to tell you that you only have to eat grass-fed if you don't want to.
And for some people, that's a deal breaker. They hear that it has to be grass-fed and they're like, oh, well, I can't afford that, so I might as well not even try it. I think that's unfair and keeps people from trying it. And I've heard Dr. Chafee say the difference between grass-fed and conventional is like the difference between the gold medal and the silver medal at the Olympics. You're still up on the podium. So it's worth doing, even if you can't afford that kind of meat. And studies do show, like Jess said, it's minuscule, the difference as far as like nutrients and stuff goes. Some people swear by grass-fed, but the thing about cows is where they have more than one stomach, they can eliminate and get rid of some of the things in the food that we don't want to be in our meat. And so the meat is still good, even if, the cow didn't eat a grass-fed diet. So I think it's important to note that it's not entirely necessary for it to be grass-fed. I eat cheap grocery store meat most of the time. Every now and then, if I can get it on clearance, like they're trying to get rid of it because it's going bad kind of sale, I'll go ahead and get some of the grass-fed. But most of the time, I just eat normal meat because it's fine. And I actually prefer the taste better. So my next one is the thing about people getting sick. So getting sick from eating this way. So my two examples are, somebody recently commented about Jordan Peterson and about how he was actually in a coma from eating this diet, and they can't believe people are still doing it. And the bottom line is that Jordan Peterson was not in a coma from eating this way. He was in a medically induced coma because he was coming off some really serious mental medication for depression that he no longer needed because of the way he was eating. But the withdrawal symptoms are so bad from the medication, they put him in a medically induced coma to get past that. And he went right back to eating his meat diet, and he is actually doing great. It had nothing to do with the diet itself that put him into a coma. And then Dr. Atkins. Everybody always says, how could you eat like that? Didn't Dr. Atkins die from a heart attack from eating that way? Or didn't Dr. Atkins die from heart disease from eating that way? He absolutely did not. Dr. Atkins slipped in the wintertime on some ice outside of his house and hit his head. And that is how he sadly died. Dr. Atkins was amazing. His book, he was really onto something with the low carb thing from years ago. And we've taken that to the next level. And I feel nothing but good about that and carrying that on and living my best life by eating lots and lots of meat.
And the next comment that we get is people saying, I've never seen a lion use a stove. Lions don't cook meat. Lions don't use salt. Lions don't eat beef, things to that regard. And we just want to remind everyone that we did not name this diet. We did not invent this diet. We are merely following this diet. And the stipulations of the lion diet are ruminant meats only, ruminant meats only, salt and water. And I am choosing to do beef only because it is what is most available to me and what I can afford. So I love all those comments. You guys are so clever. And yes, I've never seen a lion use a stove either. That is so true. Thank you for reminding me of that. But I'm going to use a stove, and I'm still going to call it the lion diet because that's what it's called.
And I don't think it's true that lions don't eat beef.
I feel like if a lion saw a cow, he'd go at it. I think that there's not a plethora of cows available for lions. I don't think that a lion would turn down a cow. Let's be honest.
So the next big question that we get a lot is, what are you cooking in? This is what we're cooking. A lot of times this is what we're cooking in. So when you see us cooking, wait, this thing's heavy. That's the top. When you see us cooking in this, when the background of the video or the background of the meat looks like this is our black pearl clay earthenware pot. They come from Africa. They are handmade. And we will put a link in the description box of the place on Instagram where you can go to ask about these. You have to set up shipping through Instagram. If you're in the United States, you cannot order online, but this thing is amazing. I think it weighs probably 8 or 10 pounds with the lid. You can use it on an open fire. You can use it on the stove or in the oven.
It's not covered in any sort of chemicals, which is one reason that Serena and I really love it, because it is natural and it makes the food taste amazing. I was not expecting that, but when I cooked eggs, especially for the first time in my black pearl, it blew my mind. And I didn't realize how much of a aftertaste pans, even cast iron, leaves on your food. And when I cooked eggs in that, they tasted like real eggs. It's so hard to explain. But the food just tastes more natural. It tastes better. And we've used it for basically everything. I've used it to make steak. I've even used it to make pancakes one time. We did a live and I made pancakes in there, carnivore pancakes. And I've made a bone broth soup. I've boiled bone broth soup in there and made egg drop soup. I've poached eggs in it. So I know technically that's not what those are normally used for, but I'm using it for anything and everything because I love it and it works well.
And you'll notice in some of our videos, we actually pick it up from the sides while our food is sizzling in it, because the sides don't get hot like that. Now, if you had it in the oven or on an open fire, obviously the sides would get hot. But when you just have it on a burner on the stove, you can actually pick it up by the sides with your bare hands because the sides don't even get hot. It's really amazing. We've made steak and bacon and whole chickens. Ooh, a whole chicken. I can't wait till the lion diet is over. I cannot wait to make a whole chicken in this thing. But we have made so many things in here. It's really easy to use. Fried chicken. I've done fried chicken in it. You can do basically anything in here. We absolutely love them.
People always ask me, is it worth the price? And I'm like, well, I bought one for my mom because I liked it so much. So I would say so. Yeah. The next comment question, or the final comment that I often receive, look at my skin and look how bad it is. And it's just an indication of how bad this diet is. And I'm not wearing any makeup right now, which is a miracle because I have mascara on. So I'll say I do have mascara.
Who is it? Who said that? Let me at him. Who would do that to you?
I had acne from about 6th grade until I was 29 years old, until I started the carnivore diet. And my skin was so bad that I would often refuse to leave the house if my makeup didn't cover my skin just right. And I would have a mental breakdown, start screaming and crying and throwing things. It was just not good. So because I was mentally unstable from the food I was eating, and then I had horrible skin and I just could not control my emotions. And so me today not having to wear makeup online is, I think, an amazing achievement for myself. So just for the people who think that my skin looks bad now, it looked much worse before. This diet is definitely helping me. It is helping my skin. It is making my skin look better. My skin is more clear than it has ever been. I feel better. I feel more confident than I ever have. So yes, it is not perfect. And no, I don't always wear makeup, but this diet is the best thing that has ever happened to my skin.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you for joining us here on the Carnivore Revolution.
Bye.